Hi homesteaders, my name is Melissa with Gullion Homestead and welcome to my channel where I focus on homesteading skills, self-sufficiency, and resilience. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. So today we are out in my garden. I'm going to do a garden tour. I promised to do a garden tour in August. We're headed towards the end of August. It is very steamy here in my zone, and which is 6B. It's very, very steamy right now. It's supposed to be a high of like 96 or 97 today, mid 90s for sure. And this morning I've already been out planting some peas. I'm a little late in my zone, but I thought I would go ahead and attempt that this late in the season just to see if we could get some peas. Last year we had such a long growing season. I mean, it was warm way into late October. So we went way past our normal frost date for planting or for growing food. So I thought I would go ahead and give it a try. It's really not hurting anything. So we'll talk a little bit about this on this video. So let's just take a tour and see where we're at. We've got some good things and some not such good things happening in the garden, but that's the great thing about these tours. So let's see what we've got going on. Okay, so right here is the strawberry garden, and in my last video the strawberries were going pretty well, but I did not have any straw down, and now I do. I've actually planted some plugs. These are the original strawberries I put in the spring, and we've gotten a lot of production. Some of them have been small. You can see there's a small strawberry. These are June bearing strawberries, and from what I know, here is there's a good looking strawberry that's almost ripe. I've gotten some big ones, but medium-sized ones and small ones. But what I do know is that you get your first year, you get a lot of smaller strawberries throughout the season as they're kind of developing. And then by next spring, we should get a big harvest. Now, in this area right here, I've planted, in the past week, I purchased some fall plugs. And those are basically bare root plants that I've put in this area right here and then back in that area right there. So we should have a full garden of strawberries next spring, which I'm very happy about because I really don't have any other fruit growing in my gardens right now. So that's going to be good. This is a 3x12. This was our garlic garden last year, but now is going to be our strawberry garden moving forward. So it's looking really healthy and really good. Now let's go over to this garden over here. And this has been my troublesome garden, but I will say that I've got a lot of good things happening in this garden as well. So I just cleaned out this area right here. There were some tomato plants that didn't really take. I did do some pickling cucumbers that did well for a while, but I am trying to let that dry out a little bit. It's pretty wet right now, and my plan is to put some carrots in this area. Carrots or spinach, I'm not sure. I've got carrots and spinach going into this garden for a winter garden. So I was planning on doing that yesterday, but the ground is still too wet in there from it's kind of a long story, but I have all of this irrigation here and I pulled the irrigation up, but literally because I kind of dug that hole, the water just pooled right back in. So I'm going to turn the irrigation off to this garden and hand water this for the next few days and see if I can get that dry enough to where I can work the dirt a little bit better. And then we're going to plant some, I think that's going to be a carrot area. I've got some Oxheart carrot seeds that I just got from my gardener. I've been waiting to put those in. Now, one problem I have with this area is that we have these zinnias, which, I mean, are just looking fabulous. I actually picked a bunch yesterday, but they look so great. And I still have some blooms, as you can see. And then these zinnias, oh my gosh, they just have taken over the garden, honestly. They were really shading this area, so I have just tied these up with a string just to kind of keep them from falling over on this trellis that I have. I did the same thing over here. This is going to give this area more sun for when the carrots do come in. That's kind of an issue this year. I've never planted flowers in my vegetable garden before, so it's been kind of, you know, something I've had to deal with, but it's fine. This is my only sad looking San Marzano tomato plant. This is the only one that's left. The only reason I have kept it on is because I've gotten some new tomatoes, and I've got some really healthy looking like leaves up here. So I've just decided to kind of go with it to see for right now if anything comes of this. I'm probably going to consider planting carrots. I mean, I've got a bunch of area here, and I really would like to plant a lot of carrots. So I think that area over there and this whole area right here is probably going to be full of carrots for the winter. And I'm going to do another video on winter gardening and kind of what I'm doing with that as the season progresses. But right now I'm just keeping this plant in. It's not hurting anything, just to see if I get any more production. This, of course, is some basil that's doing pretty well. That I really, as you can see right here, it's starting to bolt. And so I just popped those flowers off there to prevent that from getting too bitter. And then I'll probably cut this back here pretty soon and put that in the dehydrator so I can preserve it for winter. This right here is my black creme tomato plant. The tomatoes are looking great. Still not blushing yet, the ones I have on there. But I have this string trellis. It's kind of hard to see because of the sun, but I've got this string trellis. And this tomato plant had grown all the way up the trellis. So what I did is I let it down a little bit. And so here you can see this right here is my, like the stem of the tomato plant. It will actually root back into the ground. I'm not sure if it will do that this late in the season, but I went ahead and let it down a couple days ago and staked it into the ground to kind of hold it still. And then this is just something I'm trying with this trellis to see if I can get more growth. I do have some new blooms and a couple of new tomatoes that we've set fruit. So I have gotten black creme tomatoes into October. So we still have 56 days in our growing season. So we could really still get some production out of this plant. So I'm just taking advantage of that right now. In this area right here, I planted some new pickling cucumbers. I actually forgot that I had a pickling cucumber right there where I laid that tomato plant. So we'll see how that might not really work very well, but we'll see. I'm still trying to get some more pickling cucumbers. I didn't get near the production I was looking for. So I've got these going. Those have been going the longest. Looks like I probably planted those. Oh, it looks like I planted those August 4th. So they should be completely ready to give us fruit by September 11th. So that's good information. It's actually doing pretty good. I've had a little, I don't know if this is blight or what this is, but I've actually treated it with BT and it's really helping. This one I treated with BT as well because it was kind of being eaten by something, and it's done really well as well. So, I mean, these both, it looks like were planted at the same time, but this one is doing much better. Anyway, this is what I got going on over here. This trellis we're going to talk about in just a minute because pretty much everything is dead on that. But I've got something new in there that some peas that we've never planted before. So I'm going to talk to you about this trellis here shortly. Now, I took, first there's some more of those zinnias, and you can see, I mean, they're just fabulous. They really are so beautiful, and we've had such good, I've got some powdery white mildew on them right now, but this late in the season, I'm not really too worried about it. I've saved so many seeds from these zinnias that I'm going to have a ton next year too. But again, I used some garden twine and tied that up to the trellis just because I needed to get, I think that was part of my issue over here as they were laying down and I wasn't getting a lot of sun in this area. So this is, of course, my garden that didn't do near as well. And so I've got a lot of bare spots, which drives me crazy because I really want full gardens all the time. Now this right here is not doing so hot, but I didn't expect it to. This is a sucker from a black creme, and it was growing and it rooted pretty well. So I just threw it in the ground to see if I could get some production out of it. It actually did have a tomato on it, but I pulled it off just to try to get some stronger root development. We still could get something, I don't know, but I had a place in the garden, so I went ahead and took advantage of it and just, you know, thought I would see if I could get somewhere with that. Okay, so here is the trellis. And I've showed my trellis on here before. It's our arch trellis. There's Kona Girl. Actually, she likes the green beans a lot. But we had wax beans on this side of the trellis, and they were basically giving me about 2 beans a day. So a few days ago, I pulled all the roots from those at the bottom of the trellis. So cleaned this whole area up. And then this morning I planted sugar snap peas in there. So again, a tiny bit later in the season than I should have. I probably should have planted those about 2 weeks ago, but I literally did not have time, and also was really just trying to see what was going to happen with these yellow wax beans. But it only took a couple of days for all this stuff to kind of die off. So it's pretty tough around. Sorry guys, that was a farm truck that just went by, which sometimes happens. We have some farms that are right behind our property. So anyway, basically I've killed off these vines right here, and my goal is to get those cleaned up as they dry out, so that once these start to take off, then this will support those sugar snap peas. So never grown peas before, but I'm excited to have some peas for some fresh eating this fall. And pea plants in general will handle a light frost to a light, or a frost to a light freeze. The pea pods, however, don't do very well with that. So I'm hoping that we'll get something to eat for fresh eating. And then if we got a lot, then we'll actually do some freezing of that. So I'm good with that. This right here are my green beans. They are doing great. We're still getting some good production out of them. Some of the leaves, you can tell that it's starting to get a little spent. I've got, you know, some leaves that are dying off. Some of the pea pods are like you can tell they're trying to go to seed. There's a really good green bean right there. Yeah, there's a good green bean right there. I picked about a quart of green beans yesterday alone. So they've done pretty well. I'm still getting, like I said, I'm still getting some green beans. So I'm holding off on pulling this. This will probably get pulled in late September, early October. I'm imagining that it'll probably be completely spent by that time. But it looks gorgeous. I loved this trellis this summer. It has been just even a little garden romantic to me. Now, this obviously looks pretty bad now, but it did look beautiful the last time I showed this video. So you can just see as the seasons go on. I could have planted more wax beans here next year. If I probably won't do beans next year because we've got an overwhelming amount of beans right now. But the next time I grow beans, I'm probably going to grow them like the wax beans, and then do a 30 days later, I'm going to plant some more seeds just to kind of keep it going. If I really probably should have done that, but I didn't do that this year. But that's okay. It's always a learning process. I've never done an arch trellis before. So this was a lot of beans for us. You can see. And right now what we're doing is we've preserved pretty much, now there's another big one right there. We've pretty much preserved all the beans for the season. We have a lot in the freezer and a lot in jars. So now we're just eating fresh, which is really what gardening is all about. It's been lovely. Okay, so we're going to move over here. Now my green beans have actually carried over into this trellis, which this trellis was actually meant for the squash that didn't make it. So the green beans have actually kind of carried over from here to here. So I do have some green beans going right there, which is fine. Here we've got sweet potatoes, and I have shared on here before, I grew my own sweet potato. I grew my own sweet potato plants and planted them, and they are really doing great. They're kind of almost starting to come over the edge here. They're actually growing up they're vining up the trellis. They're going into my pepper plants, so they're doing good. I think there's only 5 plants that we put in there, but they are looking great. I'm super excited to see what's going on underground with those. Although the other garden was kind of a big time failure, I feel like this garden has done really well, and there are a lot of things in this garden I'm very happy with. It's probably just because I had planted all those tomato plants that went bad on the other side, and this was a lot of easier. I think root vegetables are way easier to grow. All right, so here are my peppers. You can see finally I'm getting some nice big jalapeno peppers. We've got some other peppers over there that are going. Again, those zinnia plants right there, they were taking over the peppers, and I feel like the peppers weren't getting very much sun, so I tied those up this past day or two. I did that. Maybe even did it last week. I can't even remember on that one. That was the first ones that I tied up. And if I lose those, I'm not going to be sad, because really, although they're beautiful, food is more important to us as we stand, because we try to grow as much of our own food as possible. So I've got a lot of blooms on some of the pepper plants. We've got about 7 different types of peppers in here. Not really gotten the production I was hoping for, but I'm thinking it's because we haven't gotten a lot of sun in this area because of the flowers. So got a new plan for peppers next year, but so far for this time of the season, I'm pretty happy with these big peppers. I'm going to pull some of those big peppers pretty soon. If you did not see, I just did a video on freezing your jalapenos for poppers for the winter, and it's super easy. So I will link that in the description below so that you can watch that, as well as seed saving. Okay, so this is the most exciting part of the garden for me as we speak. I am growing loofah. So here we have some very large loofah. On my last garden video, I shared this enormous loofah right here that I swear just came up overnight. Apparently I just missed it, but we have, I believe, 10 of these going now. There's a new one that just formed. I've got some other new ones like up in that area, up in this area somewhere. But the cool thing, and we'll do a video, I know I'm planning on doing a video on after this loofah is ready for preservation, which basically is a loofah sponge. So loofah, if you did not know, is a squash that grows. You can grow it on the ground, you can grow it on a vine. I have it on a vine, and I have it supported by these little bags here that I can also link in the description. Those bags are from Amazon, but they're great. You can use nylons, but I don't know anybody that wears nylons anymore, so I had no nylons. They support on a trellis, and so that you can grow vertically, which is great in a small garden space. This garden here is a 5x12, so I've shared with you before, we have 2 5x12s and a 3x12, so we really don't have a lot of garden space. So I have to go vertically with a lot of my things, and we've gotten way more production this year going vertically. But these you can actually eat as well. It's like, it would be like popping off a summer squash right now, grilling it on the grill. We could absolutely do that. Steve and I are not big summer squash people. We don't really love summer squash as much as we do winter squash. But my goal was to grow 2 years worth of loofah sponges in this area. I also had spaghetti squash planted. I had cantaloupe and watermelon. We did get 2 cantaloupes. We got 1 spaghetti squash. We got no watermelon. Well, I got 1 watermelon, but it basically wasn't even right before it fell off the vine, and it wasn't any good. I just have it for seed. But what has gone really well right here is this loofah. So there's another one down there. Let's take a walk around here. I know that here's another really big one there. So, oh, there's a really good one right there. So we've got a lot of loofah. Plus, I saw this weekend, I think it was, last weekend. Oh, there's another. I can show you guys right there. There's another little one that's starting. So I don't know what we're going to get out of this before the end of the season, but I feel like it could be a lot. Okay, so very happy with that. Right here, we've got two different types of carrots. This side, I have got the purple carrot from, it's like purple carrot from M.I. Gardner. Those are they're starting to germinate. I planted those a couple weeks ago, and then I think I might have even planted those in July. I can't remember, and I've got some more that are germinating right here. They're not tall enough. They're just now starting to germinate right there. So it was probably not in July. It was probably just like 10 days ago. I lose track of time. But these are carrots. Those are carrots, and those will have to be thinned out. But my goal was to have lots of carrots for us for eating for the winter, which we love. All right. So here are pepper plants again. And then, so here, I don't know how this is going to work out. A couple of years ago, I planted spaghetti squash like late in the season. And I know it was like at least late July, if not early August. So I planted these in early August, and they're doing okay. That year got so many spaghetti squash, it was ridiculous. I was giving them away. I feel like the last 2 years I've tried the same thing and it hasn't worked as well. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I know I planted them really late, so I've got a couple of spaghetti squash. They are starting to vine, so I'm kind of keeping a close eye on this. I mean, again, we have 56 days left in our growing season, so it's very possible that we could still get some fruit from this. I'm really hoping for that because we are huge spaghetti squash lovers. I only got one spaghetti squash that's sitting in the kitchen that I'm holding off, and I mean, we could use it anytime, but we ate a lot of spaghetti squash in this winter time because we choose that over pasta. Right here you can see too that this is more of my sweet potato vine that is vining up. I called those sweet potato plants, but really they're slips. I couldn't think of it when I was when I was videotaping over there. But those are sweet potato slips that I created. I do have that video that I'll link for you guys. And there goes Kona running across the yard. Okay, so these are the gardens. Let's head over to the herb garden and see what's going on there. So things are starting to die back here. This is a flower and herb garden. This is my lemon balm. Some of it is starting to go to seed, but I still have some that I could go ahead and harvest, and I have more down the way I'll show you. But we have plenty of lemon balm saved for tea. I don't really feel like I need any more. And I even thought about trying to transplant some of this because it's pretty invasive. It's filled up that space pretty well. I was thinking about testing to see if it would grow like in a semi-shaded area back on the tree line, so I could just get, more. Plus I could share plants with people, share tea with people. I'm fine with all of that, but I haven't gotten the nerve to actually dig any up and try that, but I might do that. Here we have some more zinnias. The zinnias have really taken over my yard. They've grown way better than I thought they would, but it's been nice to have fresh flowers again. I know I keep sharing that, but it was nice. These are the daisies. They're all spent. I actually deadheaded all of them, and they'll die back, and we'll cut those back in the fall. We've got some more lemon balm right there. Here we have, I did transplant some lemon balm down here a few years ago, and so it is going to town. It's not gone to seed yet. There's one little seed pod there, but I could actually, this is real young, so I could go ahead and harvest this if I wanted some this year, but I'm pretty good on that. Inside there is some apple balm, and we've been harvesting. The apple balm is not taken off as well. I'm hoping by next year it does. You're only supposed to harvest a third of your plant, and so that's what I've been doing with this. So we do have some. Kona, stop digging in the garden. She doesn't dig up anything I want her to dig up, only the things we don't want her to dig up. This right here is, hopefully we'll get more next year, but we do have about, I want to say maybe like a quarter of a gallon, or no, maybe an eighth of a gallon. I think it's more like an eighth of a gallon of apple mint tea for the winter, but I just dehydrated some apples. And so my thought is that I could actually mix those things together and do some dehydrated apples and some apple mint tea together would be great. We'll see. Here we've got some sage and thyme, which unfortunately is getting choked out by the berry mint tea. The berry mint tea has done very well. It's going to seed. Thought about I've been harvesting the sage for sure. I just started harvesting that, put some in the dehydrator so it's ready to go. I thought about trying to transplant that over in here. I might consider that. I'm not sure if it's going to make it if I do that, but I might try that. If you have any thoughts on that, please throw that in the comment section. Then we've got basil. This basil is doing great. We've been making basil tea out of that. I love basil tea. Jess from Roots and Refuge, she actually has a video on basil tea, and I watched it and I thought I would try it. It is fabulous, especially with some local honey. And then this is our orange mint tea, and it has taken off. We only put 2 plants in there this year, and it has been fantastic. So I've really harvested a ton of that. I'll probably harvest more of that because why not? And then we'll have plenty of peppermint teas for the winter. Okay, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. So I'm going to take you over here to my fire pit area, because right behind there I've got some lettuce growing, and I want to show you my lettuce. So this right here is my loose leaf lettuce. We have already harvested some of this. I'm going to try it. This bolted, and I tried it last night, and it is awful. It's super bitter. That's pretty bitter too. So I made a mistake and let it go too long. Of course, like I said, it's been so hot here, so I'm not really super surprised by that. But and then this is our Meyer lemon tree. We'll do another video on that. I'm going to transplant that and bring it in the house. So anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. So we'll have more videos on preserving and gardening, winter gardening, all kinds of things coming up. But please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content, and we'll see you shortly. We hope you're having the best day. Bye.